on BRTV. My name is Aliyu Ilias. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate
bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution.
TSTV, connecting your world.
As consumer protection, and also expose what consumers need to know and educate consumers on burning issues and how they can manage themselves. Today we are having a special program, and today we want to look at how far has Nigerian been well sensitized concerning protection and concerning election as well. So today our topic is citizen and election in Nigeria. How well are we aware of the election? Since we get to know that 2023 is going to be an election year, a lot of things has been going on: registration, transfer of location, and a whole lot of things. We want to know how well Nigerians are well aware of it. Perhaps the election that has been going on in the past, how has it formed a knowledge area going forward? Today, I'm being joined by a field officer in virtually all elections in this fourth republic. Is well abreast of what is happening and want to examine how well electorates have been well educated and well protected. Today, join me as I welcome Comrade Abdulrasheed from Northern Patriotic Front. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
We are glad to have you here today. And funny enough, you dress as if you're not a field officer. There is a difference when you're on the field and when you come to a studio like this, right?
Definitely.
Basically, I like you to give us background to our election in Nigeria. When we say election, what comes to people's mind? Having in mind that in this fourth republic, we have been able to continuously and sustainably have at least about 6 elections. If you recall, we have 1999, right? We have 2003, we have 2007, we have 2011, 15, 19. Now we are looking at having 2023. What can you tell us about election generally?
Well, the good thing about democracy is all about election, and there's a popular saying that election is not a war. Okay, it's election about participation of people in determining who govern them at the end of the day. As 2023 is approaching, the electoral body, independent national electoral body, have, in their own efforts, have made sure that the necessary things have been put in place. As an example, the issue of the new electoral act have really come to play, and which have been tested in the Ekiti election and Osun election. Are
you saying we had a perfect election in Osun and Ekiti?
No, definitely I must tell you there's a perfect election in Ekiti and Osun election recently conducted by INEC.
When you say perfect, are you saying that the election meet up all expectation? Is that what you are saying? Are you scoring the election process, the administering, even the equipment usage? Are you scoring them 100%?
Yeah, we scored them 90%, if not 100%. Why am I saying so? That's a new thing that came into the electoral process, which has made the election more perfectly than what it used to be, especially during the issue of the previous election. That's the issue of the beavers. That's the biometric verification and voter system. Okay, the beavers has really worked in the election processing, because with the issue of the beavers came to play, that's what the beavers do 2 things. For example, your fingerprint, they at the same time the facial outlook. It captured the 2. In a case whereby you as an electorate, you want to vote, and if the beavers cannot capture any of these 2, you can't vote. So as a result of that, so the introduction of the Rivers have made the election more perfectly.
But we've had some that did not function. They have to come and change and a lot of issues. How about that?
No, that was before these two
This
elections.
very past election, there are some places where beavers had some challenges.
Well, but it's minimal compared to what we used to
The
have
poll
before.
at the where you monitored, was there challenges or not?
No, to be frankly speaking, where I monitored, there was no any challenge. Everything went on smoothly as far as the Beavers is concerned. That's why you can see there is no any agitation, even after the election. Okay, being the result being declared by INEC, there was no any issue of agitation by the electorate that participated in that particular election.
Okay, concerning the starting on time, what are you saying also that virtually all the polling units start as an when due?
Yeah, the polling, you know, the election time started by 8:30, and based on the virtually the places we went to, and according to our other field reports that we got from the field, you know, the election commenced by 8:30, mostly by 8:30. The election commenced by 8:30 in most areas that we visited, okay? So it's only maybe some few areas that we think will come after 8:30, but virtually between 8:30 to 8:45, election in most of the polling units visited have commenced.
You know, we are looking at consumer protection in this case now. Now, if you look at election generally, once election is coming, it becomes difficult for Nigerians. We find it that it's like a war is about to happen, and because we are looking at it as if it's a war, people turnout tend to low. If you look at people that register, even in Osun election, compared to people that actually come out to vote, what do you think is really making people not to come out as expected to vote?
You know, it's because sometimes Nigerians don't believe in the systems. You know, that's why people tend to stay behind.
But there's an experience for them not to believe in the system now, because before now, most election tend to be very okay. Let's even talk looking at the upcoming election. There could be voters apathy if you look at the upcoming election, because if you look at some places and in the east, the polling, the INEC office has been, it was attacked. You know, there are some warnings that, you know, if you look at even the insecurity itself, you become apprehensive and want to like say, it's not better you be in your house.
Yeah, these are the areas where people think there's going to be voter apathy in the forthcoming general election. To some extent, it may be, and to some it may not be. For example, now, you made mention of the eastern part of the country, which the issue of the IPOP, yeah, it may create some voter apathy in that particular.
If you look at Kaduna State,
yeah,
look at Kano
while
State,
in some part in the northeast, it may equally create, but it all depends on how people are being sensitive pertaining to who govern there now, which I believe in the next election, it may play, it may not play, because people really want to show their strength, especially the electorate. You know, they want a new dimension of governance, and they believe.
Are you sure they are not comfortable with what they have? This is what you are saying, as if they may be comfortable with what they have, and perhaps coming out to really vote, if it will jeopardize my life, or I have to trade off my life for it, or maybe sustain an injury, it's better I stay in my house. So who is giving us this confidence to come out?
No, the people, okay, the people are really giving themselves the confidence to come out because they believe they cannot elect a new leader staying back home. You have to come out on the field and cast your vote, go to your various polling unit and cast your vote. And based on the assurance of the security agency, for example, just last week, the police, okay, the police have been engaging series of training on how to monitor the forthcoming general election. So at least they have their own marshal, their own plan out on how that it will curb the issue of this insecurity before the election. I believe
we also see Chief of Defense Staff coming out to say the election is going to be, but we are looking at the face of several challenges. Perhaps let's just move this conversation down to countryside. You know when we are talking about election, it's beyond urban centers. It's more of grassroots. So now are you saying that people in the grassroots will summon that courage and come out to vote at the face of challenge? Because if you look at most of the challenges that we have, it may not happen at the city center. Look at Kaduna. It's not maybe within the metropolis. Abuja is not between the municipal, you know, but it's happened at the interland. So what is the confidence? How aware people are? How aware do we take that awareness to people for them to have enough confidence for this upcoming election? You know, it becomes a very serious issue. We have about 6 or 7 months to go. How well do you want to bring people mind to bear that don't worry, you are safe and you are secure? Because security is major issues.
You know, the people are already aware of the election that is coming up, but the more the creation of the more awareness of these people. For example, now that's what we call voters awareness creation. Okay, the INEC is doing their own part, the society are doing their own part. At the same time, the political party too, they're equally engaging their own people for them to really come up, because these people, the grassroots are Nigerians. They have the timetables of what the INEC really want to do. Okay, so everybody is being involved. This is not only the issue of INEC alone. Okay, INEC, the CSO, and the political party have to work in hand in making sure that, okay, the electorate really come out to cast their vote. That very, as we all know, the people that really benefit this election are the political party. So the people should do more of awareness.
So how do we take the benefits from political party to the electorate? Because it's become very sad that Nigerians as the entire consumers, Nigerians as the electorate, we always want a dividend of this democracy. But from what you said now, the political party benefited, or the politicians, so to speak, benefited compared to what citizen benefit. So we are looking at citizen-centric election, not political or politician-centric election. So how do we take this thing to the grassroots and make sure that the grassroots really take the benefit of this election?
Okay, in taking it to the grassroots, definitely no any candidate can stand on his own, on her own, but you must go through a political. It depends on the program of that political party. Okay, does it really stand the time of the people? Is it concentrated on the masses, or is it what the people really, the policy of that political party? Are they really, is it what the people really want or not? So it depends on how they were able to fashion out their political campaign or the policy they have for the people in the next election. It will not determine if they want the people to drive the process or the political party is going to drive the process. But by and large, the people are supposed to drive the process, not the political party. But we still have a situation whereby the party tend to dictate what they want to do to the people, not what the people really want. But
majority of Nigerians still believe that vote don't count. They believe that majorly, if they even go there, queue, come rain, come sunshine, and last they will find out that it's not the person they actually want. So are you actually telling us as a CSO, are you telling us that those votes actually count when it's come to election results?
Well, ever since I've been monitoring election, I must confess that any election being conducted by Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is credible.
Credible?
Yes, I must confess.
Should I give you some scenario? What happens at Imo the other time that they have to like sign and put pen on some documents under duress? What happened?
You know, at the polling unit,
right?
I'm coming. At the polling unit, the election is credible. Anything that transferred outside the polling unit, nobody knows. But as far as the polling unit is concerned,
right? Okay,
as far as the polling unit is, the election is credible.
But it was INEC official at the polling unit, and that came out after he has signed on that duress that yes, I have signed on that duress, so this is not the actual thing. So it was one that came out. So what has been put in place to make sure they forestall such reoccurrence?
That's why the issue of the beavers, the introduction of new beavers now, are able to.
Are you talking about electronic transfer of result or beavers itself?
No, not the electronic transfer is quite. No, the electronic transfer is different. The beavers is different. For example, the beavers instantly, as you are casting your vote, right, you go straight into the server.
Right.
Okay, while the electoral transfer is whatever thing you've done at the polling unit, okay, before the close of the polling unit, you have to transfer it electronically before you get to the collation center. So anything that you see, okay, at the polling unit must able to in line with what you have at the server, because you must able to do something before you get to the collation center.
All right, having a look at that itself, how do you now think that the electorate can actually protect their vote right from where the point of vote up to the point of collation and up to the point of declaring these results? So how do you think consumers, electorates can actually make sure they protect this, their votes?
One of the ways the electorate can protect their vote is through staying at the ballot places. Okay, where you cast your vote, if you have the chance, you have to stay. So in that way, you can protect your vote. Aside that, you must equally believe in the system, because I'm still saying it, INEC has improved to some extent, okay, that an electorate can go back home after casting your vote, can go back home and sleep, and you make sure that what you casted or what you voted.
But it's a two-way thing. You said they can go home and stay, and you said it should be there.
No, for some of them that really want to stay, you can stay back after casting your vote. But for some of them that really want to go back home, you can go back home and be rest assured that whatever thing we have casted is going to play out.
But the
not
point
the other
also
way
means that
out.
politicians are very smart, and the more you bring new things, the more they also decipher another way of making sure that things work in their own way.
But in this case, the system has not been hotter yet. Okay, this is a new system.
And also, I must bring this to your notice. You know, this election, this is off-season election. Maybe one off. You know, you need to cater to 36 states of the federation and federal capital, and everything will have to go pari passu. I said, even with that overwhelming challenge, there cannot be a challenge in that process of electioneering.
No, there will not be, because the system is networking. This way have been connected to one another. So in as much as you are doing your voting, okay, there is a central server at the INEC headquarters. Okay, people are there monitoring whatever thing you are doing.
So are you saying that every polling unit, there is a system where every polling unit is being watched, or every collation center is being monitored? Because polling units, over 8,000 polling units, I say it's being monitored at the time, or the collation center?
No, as far as general election is concerned, as you are casting your vote, they are seeing it at the central server there.
You mean is trickling in?
Yeah,
is that what you're trying?
Yes, it's
I was
trickling
thinking
in.
You said they can be monitored maybe via CCTV.
No, it's going to be a general monitoring.
So, okay,
based on what is coming in.
So that means reporter now relied on who is at the polling unit to give information about what happened.
That's why you see most of the election observer, they have most of their men at the polling unit. You know, for that side, what they are going to report to the INEC, they want to see the physical as it was being done at the polling unit. Okay, that's the more reason why you have to station your members, and if not virtually all the polling units, at least some strategic polling units, so that as they are doing, you can be sending your reports, okay, back to whoever organization that sent you to the feed.
All right, thank you so much. I've been discussing with Comrade Abdulrasheed from Northern Patriotic Front. We've been discussing citizen and election. How well are we protected during this election, especially with this issue of insecurity in Nigeria? So we are going on a breather now. We'll be back shortly. Thank you. Community on BRTV. My name is Aliyu Ilias. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate
the bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank, and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response, or you are not satisfied with their resolution.
TSTV, connecting your.
Welcome back to Consumer Community, where we discuss consumer protection and also ensure that your rights, your privileges are being protected. Today we have been discussing citizen and election in Nigeria. As you know that Nigeria has become we are at a point at which everybody is looking forward to the upcoming election. So I have my guest with me, who is a field officer and election observer. You know, when we say election observer, people that actually go to the grassroots and monitor how election has been conducted. Thank you for joining us, Comrade Abdulrasheed from Northern Patriotic Front. The news around is that INEC has been able to get more people to register for their voters card. Having looking at that, it is being said that we have more Nigerian youth in terms of the voting category, people that are going to vote during the election. Now, how has that? Do you think the 70% or 71% of Nigerian youth in this category, are they aware of their power, or how it is important for them to come out and determine who rule the country itself? How well are they aware of their numbers compared to other categories, such as maybe the women and maybe the elderly? So how do you see that?
Well, the Nigerian youth are more aware than before, especially on the issue of the bill being passed by the National Assembly, not too young to run. Okay, that one has really gingered more Nigerians for them to come into the public space, especially into elective position, to really test run their capacity if really they can able.
But do you think not too young to run had actually helped Nigerian youth to participate in the election?
Yeah, definitely, because
if you look at not too young to run and not too young to participate, I would think we are not being encouraged. Nigerian youth are not being encouraged to participate, because if you look at how much it takes to even buy maybe interest, I mean, how do you call it? Buy form, expression form to participate in election. You discover that 40 million, open 40 million, 25 million. How do you want youth without having a godfather somewhere to be able to afford that? So I'm still thinking that's not too wrong to run, has not really achieved the set objective.
No, but we know in every setting you must start from a process. At least the process has been created. You now determine how do you want to manage the process. At least, as you can see in the last election, we have some certain number of youths that participated, especially at the state level. Okay, if you look at the House of Assembly, okay, at the state level, you see some few selected or elected youth that are into it. For example, the Speaker of Plateau State is a youth. Okay, then when you go to Kaduna State, some of them are in your state as well. Some of these states, you see some of these youths, take the advantage.
If you trace some of these youths, most of, like you are mentioning on your state, most of their parents are well-known politicians that have the wherewithal to actually support their children. You have to look at that too, because the money to actually pay 15 million, 10 million, 40 million it will not come easy for a Nigerian youth. So if you look at all these people you are mentioning, most of them have their parents in politics before, so everything perhaps is arranged for them. That's what we look at. Sometimes you can take advantage of the system. Okay, in as much they are all Nigerians. Okay, being irrespective of the family background you came from, the most important is the law does not discriminate. And that means money still come to play. No, when you say we are too young to run, no, that means I must also have the money to run. It's not only that pronunciation that yes, you are not too young. No,
definitely, as far as Nigerian election is concerned, or if you want to really contest a public office, if you don't have the cash, the system does not give room for those people that doesn't have the cash. For you as a CSO, is that a good stand that you must have the cash before you can really actually lead your people, if at all you have the popularity? No, it's not a good thing to start with, but that's what the system creates for itself. So what are we doing, you as a CSO, to make sure that you reduce such thing from from happening? And it's just for me to continue creating the awareness, especially to the political parties, for them to reduce the issue of the expression of interest for the form, buying of the form. They should be able to at least. We are not saying, politics, you cannot just take it like that. You must work for it. But we are not saying that they should be able to give the youth on a platter of free, on a platter of gold. No. We are not talking about getting it on platter of gold. Yes, you have joined a political party.
Yes, you have been there for maybe 10 years. Yes, you have been following them. Now, but at the point of you contesting, they will say you need to have a particular. So, do you think there should be another bill that will go there and say, no, for so year, there should be reduction in the expression of interest form? That's what we're asking. Because if you have discriminated me, by the time you say I should bring 25 million, in which I do not have a godfather, I'm not lucky to have a parent who is in politics that have the money. So you have actually so there should, don't you think there should be another way of bringing a particular law to back up this amendment, to amend this not too young to run, to also consider the amount that is involved?
No, I think this has to do with the party, with the political party, not any law, because you cannot tell a political party on how to set their house.
National Assembly can actually bring out a particular law that will reduce how much, because that's why they are there. Even I may excuse INEC because it's not there, but the National Assembly, who actually bring out this not too wrong, can also work it out on how those amounts can be reduced. It's a law. Once a law comes that every youth within so 10 million, you know, if they can even generally reduce, because if you look at our election, is money intensive and it's discouraging. Now, for you to contest for president, you know how much billions you must have. Do you get? And it's also trickled down to councillorship. So if you want to be councillor, there's some things that you must make sure you have financial. These are what we are talking about. So if you are saying I should bring a particular sum of money to even get the form itself, you have discriminated me right from that point, and you have denied people that would have voted for me, that will believe in me, that have been popular before them, to actually cast their vote for me.
But the issue there is that we still have to talk to the consciousness of the political parties. Right. Let them drive the process. You know, these are the, you know, in making law is not just easy, because you must lobby. And who are those people you are going to lobby? It's still the politician you want to lobby. But in a case whereby you're able to talk to the consciousness of the political parties, please, you must be able to reduce the cost of your nomination form.
If you look at National Assembly, we only have about maybe 5 political parties ruling us there. Apart from the 2 leading political parties, we have little. So it's still within their purview in the National Assembly to discuss it among themselves. They are the political party. They are the one making the laws that will affect it. So in a nutshell, we still think that the not too young to run is not actually working as expected, because you are saying I'm not rich enough again to participate in elections. So generally, let's look at election generally. So what do you think 2023 has for Nigerians generally?
Well, the 2023, you know, is an election that's going to hold, because I believe that the election is going to hold as far as 2023 is concerned. Generally, people should believe in the system and come out. Thank God, most Nigerians now, they have their PVC. So let your PVC work for you, okay, not for any parochial interest, but at least if your PVC work for you, then you have the interest of Nigerians at heart. Okay, the most important thing is that aside, because now most Nigerians now, it's not just for you to have the PVC. On the day of election, you won't go out. Okay, so right now, in as much as the consciousness is there for everybody to have the PVC, the same consciousness should be there on the election day. Please go out, because that very day, some politicians may like to create some scene, some scenario.
Consumer community on BRTV. My name is Aliyu Ilias. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, you know, does this. We do investigate.
Bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution.
TSTV, connecting your world.